Well, the South African economy has taken almost 2 years to recover from the absolute worst of the COVID-19 pandemic. While the numbers and several other factors paint a bleak picture, it's everyday citizens who have experienced the impact firsthand as they pay more and more for basic items. But just how much more are we paying and who's charging the most? Newzroom Afrika's Andersen filed this report.
According to Stats SA, annual consumer inflation reached a 13-year high last month, rising to 7.8%, up from 7.4% in June. The consumer price index increase is even more worrying. In the last month, there has been an increase of 1.5%. In short, that means that most things have gotten more expensive. And with petrol costs having surged too over the last 6 months, this means food products are now costing a premium. Let's take a look at just how much those basic food items have gone up by. Since July 2021, both brown and white bread now cost over R2 more. Pasta is up by almost R1.50, while packs of maize meal and frozen chicken are now R5 more expensive. Beef chuck will now cost you an extra tenner per pack. Add all those increases up and it's no small change at all. The biggest increase in price for a basic cooking item, a 750ml bottle of cooking oil, is R17 more expensive than it was a year ago. The only good news is that a kilogram of rice is now R5 cheaper. Increases like these are just part of the reason unions promised a national shutdown over the cost of living this week. While we didn't see much shut down, thousands turned out to say, we can't afford to go on like this. Local data tracking group The Outlier has spent the last 3 months tracking the prices of items in a basic food basket from the main supermarket stores in the country. Their work has tracked 9 basic household items, and the results have quite a few South Africans surprised.
So one of the interesting things we found across June and July, that was before we included ShopRite, Woolworths actually turned out to be the cheapest place to buy these goods in store.
Another surprise comes from the August data. Pick n Pay came in at R16.30 more expensive than ShopRite. The 9 items in the basket this month will cost you R422 at Pick n Pay, and a few cents cheaper at Spar. On the cheaper side, ShopRite comes in at R405, while Woolworths and Checkers are less than R3 more expensive. With costs continuing to soar, bread at Pick n Pay and Woolworths went up again by R1 in the last month alone. The unemployment rate has decreased by just 0.6 of a percentage point, and with 33.9% of South Africans unemployed, economist Sviso Skenjana paints a pretty bleak picture.
One of the things that we look at in economics, which is called the half-life gap, it's a measure of how long would it take for someone who comes in the lowest earning quintile household in South Africa to have enough mobility to get to the highest earning. In South Africa, that number is about 22.5 years. And simply what that tells us is that if you're born into poverty, you are most likely going to stay into poverty. If you look at also the number of people who are discouraged job seekers, 80% of them come from the lowest earning households in the country.
It's important to remember that just having a job is often not enough to cope with these rising costs. Data from the Bureau of Market Research shows that a whopping 75% of employed South African adults are currently earning below R5,800 per month. At the same time, 13 million South Africans are living below the lowest food poverty line of just R624 per month. With so many South Africans already living in poverty, the rising costs of living show no signs of slowing down. For Newzroom Afrika on Channel 405, I'm Andersen in Johannesburg.